What would you do if the whispers of the past began to echo in your mind, blurring the lines between reality and the shadows of forgotten rituals? As I stood at the edge of the dense woods bordering my childhood home in the heart of Salem, Massachusetts, I couldn't shake the feeling that something ancient and malevolent was awakening. It was a quiet town known for its history of witch trials and dark folklore. Yet beneath its quaint exterior, a sinister undercurrent seemed to pulse, drawing me back like a moth to a flame. My name is Clara, and I had returned to Salem after years of silence and self-imposed exile, haunted by the memories of my family's tragic past. My younger brother, Ethan, had disappeared into these very woods one fateful night, his laughter swallowed by the darkness, leaving behind only questions that festered like open wounds. The townsfolk whispered tales of old spirits and long-forgotten rituals, their voices dripping with the fear of what lurked in the shadows. I had always dismissed these stories as mere superstition, but the air felt different now, charged, almost electric, as if the forest itself was alive, waiting for me to uncover its secrets. As I stepped further into the woods, the familiar crunch of leaves beneath my feet morphed into an unsettling symphony. The trees loomed taller than I remembered, their gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. The sun dipped low, casting elongated shadows that danced eerily in the fading light. I felt a chill creep along my spine, a premonition that something was about to happen, something I could neither predict nor control. It started with a rustling in the underbrush, faint but undeniable. My heart raced as I turned toward the sound, half expecting to see a deer or perhaps a wayward fox. But instead, there was only silence, a thick, suffocating stillness that seemed to press against my chest. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and decay, a reminder of the lives once lived and lost in this place. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that unseen eyes were tracking my every move, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. The stories of my family's history flooded back to me with each step, a lineage intertwined with the occult and the supernatural. My grandmother, once a revered figure in the town, had dabbled in rituals that invoked spirits, calling upon forces that were better left undisturbed. I had always believed those tales were mere fabrications, but now, as I retraced my footsteps into the past, doubt gnawed at my resolve. Was there a truth buried beneath the folklore, a connection to my brother's disappearance that I had yet to comprehend? With the sun slipping beneath the horizon, casting long shadows that stretched like fingers clawing at the edge of sanity, I felt a pull deeper into the forest. It was as if the trees themselves were beckoning me toward an ancient altar hidden within their embrace, a place where time ceased to exist, and echoes of the past lingered. But when night fell, something inexplicable happened. The air thickened, and the whispers began. They were soft at first, a gentle murmur that sent shivers down my spine, urging me to listen, to remember. In that moment, I realized I was not just a visitor in these woods. I was part of a much larger story, one that had been waiting for my return. I pressed deeper into the woods, each step feeling more like a descent into my own unraveling mind than a journey through nature. The whispers grew louder, swirling around me like a haunting melody that pulled at my heart. "Clara! Clara!" They beckoned, and I felt my resolve wavering. I had come seeking answers about Ethan, but now I couldn't shake the feeling that the woods wanted something from me, something I had yet to uncover. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, startling me. It was a woman, her long hair cascading, in dark waves down her back, her eyes gleaming with a strange intensity. "You shouldn't be here," she said, her voice low but firm, an echo of authority that sent an involuntary shiver down my spine. "Who are you?" I demanded, trying to mask the tremor in my voice. "I'm Lila," she replied, stepping closer. The woods speak to you, don't they? They've called you back. There was an unsettling familiarity in her gaze, as if she could peer into the depths of my soul. You're tied to this place just like your brother was. I felt an icy grip of fear and curiosity entwine in my chest. What do you know about Ethan? Her expression softened, but there was a flicker of something darker in her eyes. More than you might think. He was special, gifted, like the rest of your family. And he stumbled into something he couldn't understand. Gifted? I echoed, my mind racing. You mean the stories? The rituals? Yes, she replied, glancing nervously around us, as if the trees had ears. Your grandmother's legacy isn't just folklore. It's a reality. The woods are alive, and they remember. They remember Ethan! My heart pounded in my chest. What happened to him? Where is he? Not all who enter the woods can return, Clara. But there are ways to reach him again. Her words sent an electric thrill through me, a mix of hope and dread. I had come to confront the past, but now I was faced with a choice that felt monumental. What do I need to do? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Lila studied me for a moment, her expression inscrutable. You must participate in the rituals, the ones your family practiced. They're dangerous, and they require a sacrifice. A piece of your soul, perhaps, or a memory. But it's the only way to find him. I recoiled at the thought, but something deep within me stirred. I had spent years running from my family's legacy, from the very essence of who I was. Now, it seemed, I had no choice. I'll do it, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. I'll do whatever it takes to bring him back. Then you must confront your fears, Lila said, her tone growing serious. The woods will test you. They will show you things you wish to forget, and you will have to face them head-on. As the shadows deepened, I felt a surge of determination mixed with dread. I was no longer just Clara, a girl searching for her brother. I was a vessel for something greater, something terrifying. But just as I was about to ask Lila more, a sudden rustling broke through the stillness, and a low growl echoed from the darkness. My heart raced as I turned, panic gripping me. What was that? I gasped. Something ancient, she whispered, her eyes wide with fear. We need to move, now! As we fled deeper into the woods, the whispers grew frantic, urging me to remember, to understand. I felt the walls of reality closing in, and I knew that the path ahead was fraught with danger, not only from the forest, but from the truths I had long avoided. The time for reckoning was upon me, and as the shadows closed in, I realized that whatever awaited us in the heart of the woods would change everything I thought I knew about myself, my brother, and the legacy of my family. We dashed through the underbrush, Lila leading the way, her movements fluid and instinctive. My heart pounded in my chest, each beat echoing a primal fear that I couldn't shake. The dark growl behind us faded into the distance, but the feeling of being hunted lingered, clawing at the edges of my sanity. Why did you bring me here? I shouted, desperate to make sense of the chaos unraveling around me. What do you know about Ethan? About our family? Lila glanced back at me, her eyes flickering with a mix of urgency and something else, an emotion I couldn't quite name. I didn't bring you here, the woods did. They've chosen you, Clara. You're the key. Key to what? I pressed, frustration boiling over. What's so special about me? Your family's history is woven into the fabric of this forest. Your grandmother's rituals, they were meant to protect this place, but they also bound you to it. Your brother was searching for something, and he got too close to the truth. I think he uncovered a secret that goes far beyond our understanding. As she spoke, my mind raced back to childhood memories, family gatherings filled with strange chants, the smell of herbs burning in the night air, and my grandmother's eyes glinting with a knowledge she never fully shared. I had dismissed those moments as eccentricities, but now they loomed over me like dark clouds. "What secret?" I asked, my voice trembling. Before Lila could answer, I felt a sharp pain in my chest, as if something was being pulled from me. "What's happening?" I gasped, clutching my sides. "It's the woods," she said, urgency creeping into her tone. "They're testing you. You must confront your past." Suddenly, flashes of memories overwhelmed me. My brother's laughter, my parents' arguments, and the day Ethan vanished. Then an image struck me like lightning. The last thing I had said to him. A cruel retort born from jealousy. "You'll never be good enough," I had yelled, not knowing it would be the last time I saw him. Tears streamed down my face as I felt the weight of that moment suffocating me. "I didn't mean it," I gasped, but the woods didn't care about my regrets. The whispers intensified, and I could almost hear Ethan's voice mingling with them, mocking me for my cowardice. "Clara!" Lila's voice pierced through my despair. "Focus. The woods want to show you something. We need to find the circle, your family's sacred place. It's the only way." But as we ran, I could feel the ground beneath me shifting, the trees twisting into grotesque shapes as if they were alive, mocking my pain. I glanced at Lila, and for the briefest moment, I saw a flicker of doubt in her eyes, a hint that perhaps she wasn't entirely sure of her own role in this dangerous game. "Lila," I said, my voice trembling. "You know more than you're telling me. Why are you really here?" The question hung in the air, heavy with implications. Lila hesitated, and for a moment I saw a flicker of vulnerability cross her face. "Because I've lost someone too," she admitted, her voice barely a whisper. "And I thought you could help me find them." The revelation struck me like a bolt of lightning. This was no longer just about Ethan. We were both entangled in the web of loss and desperation. But the woods had their own agenda, and as the shadows deepened around us, I could feel a greater darkness looming, ready to reveal secrets that could shatter the fragile bond we were beginning to form. "Keep moving," I urged, my breath hitching, as the whispers turned to howls. "We have to keep moving." But the woods were shifting, and I could feel the divide growing between us. Whatever awaited us in the heart of this forest was more than just a search for our loved ones. It was a reckoning with the very essence of our souls. And as I plunged deeper into the unknown, I couldn't help but wonder if we were both destined to be lost forever, or if we could somehow emerge whole on the other side. We stumbled into a clearing, the air crackling with an electric tension that sent shivers down my spine. The circle loomed before us, ancient stones arranged in a perfect ring, their surfaces etched with symbols that seemed to pulse with life. I could feel the energy surging around us, a magnetic pull that beckoned me closer. "Clara, this is it," Lila said, her voice thick with awe and fear. I could see the uncertainty in her eyes, but there was also a flicker of hope. "This is where your family's power lies." My heart raced as I stepped forward, each footfall echoing in the stillness. The whispers grew louder, swirling around me like a tempest. I closed my eyes, letting the sounds wash over me, searching for a familiar thread among the chaos. And then through the cacophony, I heard it. Ethan's laughter, bright and clear, like sunshine breaking through a storm. "Ethan!" I cried, my voice breaking. "Where are you?" The ground trembled beneath me, and the stones began to glow, illuminating the darkness with a warm light. I could see shadows flickering at the edges of the circle, figures emerging from the gloom. My breath caught in my throat as I recognized them. My parents, my grandmother, all the lost pieces of my past, their faces twisted in expressions of sorrow and longing. "Clara." My mother's voice broke through the din, a haunting echo that felt both foreign and achingly familiar. "You must understand, we did this for you." "Did what?" I shouted, desperation clawing at my throat. Why did you leave me? Why did you abandon Ethan? The shadows shifted, and suddenly, Lila was beside me, her hand gripping my arm. Clara, focus. This is the moment. You have to confront the truth. The woods want to show you everything. But as I turned my gaze back to the circle, the figures morphed, becoming distorted and grotesque, their smiles twisting into cruel grins. You never appreciated us, my grandmother's voice taunted, the warmth replaced by an icy chill. You turned your back on the legacy we left you. No! I screamed, the sound tearing from my lungs. I loved you. I just didn't understand. The shadows surged forward, and I felt the weight of their expectations pressing down on me. I stumbled backward, colliding with Lila, who steadied me with a fierce grip. You can't let them control you, she urged, her eyes blazing with determination. You have to reclaim your power. In that moment, I felt the anger rise within me, a fire igniting where despair had lingered. I took a deep breath, letting the pain and regret fuel my resolve. You don't own me, I shouted at the figures, my voice echoing through the clearing. I won't let your ghosts haunt me anymore. The ground shook violently, and the stones surrounding the circle blazed with light, illuminating the dark figures looming over us. I could feel Lila's presence beside me, a reminder that I wasn't alone in this confrontation. We were both fighting for something lost, and together we could forge a new path. With a surge of determination, I stepped forward, the energy of the circle coursing through me. I choose to break the cycle, I declared, my voice strong and unwavering. I raised my arms, calling upon the power of the forest, the legacy binding me to my family, and the love I had for Ethan. As the light intensified, the shadows recoiled, and I felt the weight of their past begin to lift. The moment hung in the air, suspended between fear and hope, as I prepared to embrace whatever revelation awaited me. In that decisive instant, I understood that the truth was both a burden and a gift, and I was ready to confront it head-on. But as the light enveloped me, a new figure emerged from the shadows, one I hadn't expected, a face that sent a chill down my spine and a name that hung heavily in the air. Ethan. As the blinding light enveloped me, I felt my heart race, a mix of fear and exhilaration coursing through my veins. Ethan stood there, an ethereal figure caught between shadows and light. His expression was both familiar and alien, a ghost of the brother I had loved and lost. Clara, he whispered, his voice barely audible over the chaos. You have to let go. I took a shaky step toward him, the energy of the circle crackling around us. Ethan, please! I need you to come back. I need to understand. But as I reached out, the light intensified, blinding me, and the shadows closed in. The moment stretched, a taut wire ready to snap. Suddenly, the figures of my family surged forward, their forms flickering like candle flames. The warmth I had felt moments ago turned icy, and I stumbled back, the weight of their expectations crashing down on me. Clara! Lila shouted, her voice a lifeline. You have to remember who you are. You're stronger than they are. With her words echoing in my mind, I summoned a deep breath and confronted the shadows. No, you don't own my story, I shouted, the defiance in my voice ringing through the clearing. The light surged once more, and I felt the power within me merge with the energy of the circle. I could see the fear in the eyes of the shadows as I pushed back against them, forcing them to retreat. Then, with a final burst of energy, the shadows shattered like glass, sending shards of darkness scattering into the forest. The light enveloped me completely, and I felt the warmth of Ethan's presence fade. I was left standing alone in the clearing, breathless and trembling, the weight of grief and power intertwining in my chest. But the victory felt hollow. I looked down at my hands, now marked with faint glowing symbols from the stones. They pulsed like a heartbeat, a reminder of what I had faced. Lila rushed to my side, her eyes wide with a mixture of awe and concern. "You did it, Clara! But what now?" I turned to the circle, still glowing faintly, and felt a strange emptiness where the shadows had been. "I don't know," I admitted, the shadows of my family still lingering in my mind. But I can't ignore what just happened. There's more to this than we understand. As we began to step away from the circle, the ground beneath us rumbled again, and a low, ominous sound echoed through the trees. We exchanged worried glances, the tension in the air thickening once more. "I think we've only scratched the surface," Lila said, her voice barely above a whisper. "If your family's power is tied to this place, then it's not over." And then, from the edge of the clearing, I caught sight of something glimmering, a small silver pendant lying in the dirt, its surface etched with the same symbols as the stones. I picked it up, feeling a strange connection tug at my heart. As I held it, a jolt of energy surged through me, igniting my senses. "Clara, what's that?" Lila asked, her eyes wide with curiosity. "I don't know," I replied, the weight of the pendant heavy in my palm. "But I think it's a clue, something we need to uncover." And as the forest whispered around us, I realized the battle had shifted and new mysteries lay ahead, waiting to be unraveled. Ethan's laughter echoed faintly in the distance, reminding me that while I might have faced my family's past, the future was still shrouded in uncertainty, and I was determined to uncover the truth, no matter what it took. As I held the pendant tightly, a shiver raced down my spine. The air crackled with energy, and I felt the weight of destiny pressing down on me. Lila's eyes were wide, reflecting both curiosity and concern. "Do you feel that?" she asked, her voice a mix of excitement and fear. "Yes," I breathed, my heart pounding against the walls of my chest. The pendant pulsed in my hand, a heartbeat of its own, vibrating with an ancient power that seemed to resonate through the woods. I glanced back at the circle, its glow dimming, and the shadows that had once haunted me now mere remnants in my mind. "Clara," Lila urged, her voice steady, but laced with urgency. "If that pendant is a clue, we need to figure out what it means before it's too late." But as I looked deeper into the forest, the trees began to sway, whispering secrets I couldn't quite grasp. I felt a pull, an invitation to venture further into the unknown. It was intoxicating, promising answers I desperately sought. Yet, the fear of what lay beyond gnawed at me. "Should we follow it?" I asked, torn between the thrill of discovery and the dread of what awaited us. There was a path ahead, one illuminated by the faint glow of the pendant, but shadows loomed in the corners of my vision, reminding me of the battle I had fought and the one still to come. Lila hesitated, glancing back at the clearing. "What if it leads us to something we can't handle?" My heart raced at the thought. "We have to know the truth, Lila, whatever it takes." With a shared look of resolve, we stepped forward into the darkness, the pendant lighting our way. But as the trees closed in around us, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were walking toward an inevitable confrontation, one that would test everything I had learned and everything I had yet to uncover. And as the forest swallowed us whole, the echoes of laughter and whispers intertwined, leaving me with the realization that this was just the beginning, an uncharted territory brimming with both danger and possibility. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Share with your friends so they can also embark on this mystery-filled adventure. Leave a comment below telling us your favorite part or what kind of ending you'd like to see in a future story.